Welcome, everybody, to the Old Gold Show. With you, as always, I'm Andrew Ledman, co-manager over at hammerandrails.com.
And I'm Casey Bartley over at Boiler Upload Rivals Network.
And we're here to discuss Purdue's 84-70 victory over the Iowa Hawkeyes. This one in Iowa.
Pause, Ledman. I've got some ice to wipe up off the floor.
Okay, yeah.
We'll be right back.
Take a second. Yeah, that was obviously a key in this game, is the multiple stoppages to get condensation off the floor, because apparently, and I didn't know this, I've never been to a game at Carver Hawkeye. I did not know they had the weird skylight situation up top. Robbie Hummel on the broadcast called it a circus tent.
Is that why there was water on the floor?
Well, that's what they were saying, that because there was snow on top, and then it was heating up, and then it was kind of dripping down, or else somebody mentioned maybe there was a condensation situation because of the temperature differential. But I don't know. Have never seen the roof of Carver Hawkeye before, but it was an interesting development to have them stop the game multiple times to dry the floor.
Yeah, I have now seen Carver Hawkeye. I've been in Carver Hawkeye. Don't know anything about roofs. Couldn't tell you. My assumption, there was definitely a lot of snow, very cold. That blizzard that I had to drive through to get to Nebraska that Purdue had to deal with like a week and a half ago. That leveled a lot of snow. It was still around. Could it have? I assume they have a roof that doesn't, I would think if it leaked, that would have been handled.
Okay, but sure, you would think that Assembly Hall over in Bloomington doesn't have things that fall off it every season, and yet here we are.
Is it every season, Ledman?
That's hyperbole.
Most seasons?
That's most seasons. I think it's about a 50-50 prospect.
Okay.
Something's going to fall off in Assembly Hall. So
I don't know. Yeah, it was weird, but it was in the same spot. And it was like a direct line to where it was. So in my head, it makes sense that it was a condensation issue somewhere up top to where it was but yeah, regardless, it was terrifying. Half my mind, the whole game is well, there's 4 ACLs that could be sacrificed.
Right. Yeah.
To
yeah. I think as Purdue fans, we've all got that thinking in the back of our heads, oh, great. We've never had problems with people, non-contact injuries on basketball floors. Never has happened to us.
Also,
so why should it worry us? Yes, also those.
Which turned out to happen.
Isaac Haas. Yes, and we'll get to that in a moment. But 84-70, Purdue holds an Iowa team who, scores it in droves to just 70. I believe they scored just 68 at Mackey Arena. So to hold them to just 2 more points on the road in their arena is pretty good. Iowa, known for their offense, not for their defense. Purdue puts together a pretty well-balanced attack. Zach Edey, of course, scores 30+ for the 3rd game in a row.
Is that good?
Yeah, just outrageous. He's averaging, I think, 31 and 17 over his last 3 games.
I think that's good. I think that's pretty high.
I would want to check the records. Yeah. It's my first season watching basketball, so I'm not sure if that's good or not. It's I forget what movie it is where he plays Dance Dance Revolution, and he's like, oh, is that good? Did I break it? Is that high score? Does that mean it's broken? That's pretty much Zach Edey every game, these last 3 games. It's incredible what he's doing.
Yeah, I think at some point we have to have some kind of injunction between, I think if this Purdue team and this Iowa team played 20 times, Iowa would be within single digits once. And I don't mean that as much like an insult to Iowa. It's just this is such a bad matchup for Iowa.
Yeah.
Because I thought Iowa, they got everything they could have wanted from Tony Perkins. Their shooting was decent. Sanford got some good looks. But they just have no answer to Braden Smith or Zach Edey. Particularly Zach Edey, who I think early on, Purdue had multiple offensive rebound possessions. Yeah. And not even having to work that hard at it. Just existing there and grabbing it. So it is a if you want to talk about a matchup that just does not fit Iowa at all, which is good because Purdue, back in the day, that press of Iowa would just it could just equal out any talent disparity between the 2 teams.
Yeah, now Rick Mount bobblehead day
Mhm.
comes to mind as a game that Purdue just absolutely fettered away with some terrible possessions and against that Iowa press.
Yeah, now the combination of Braden Smith and Lance Jones just makes
Yeah,
that really not an issue. And I think on top of that, those bit pieces around that would struggle before, like Mason Gillis has 4 years of dealing with the press now.
yeah,
Caleb First, 3, 4 years. All Ethan Morton has taken, like they've all seen everything at this point. I think we're really starting to see um the experience pay off for Purdue and just little edges in games where things could have gotten ugly or where Iowa could have actually gotten back in it. And they did get down to 8 late.
yeah,
I, I think we have a big conversation to have about Braden Smith and how much Matt Painter is playing him right now.
yeah. 39 minutes in this one.
Played the entire second half, and there was just a little stretch there towards the end where you could just see like Braden Smith goes in little spells where he turns the ball over, or gets caught in a little, and like you could see him just be tired. I talked
Yeah.
to him after the game, and he's like, "Yeah, I was tired at the end," but that's he wants to play.
Right.
He
Well,
doesn't
but
like
I
going to
mean,
the bench.
all players want to
Right.
play, but that's why players don't get to make that choice. That's what the coach is there for, to be like, yes, I know you want to play 40 minutes. I know all of you would like to play the entire game, but it's not in your best interest. And I'm going to tell you, it's not in your best interest. So I got to plant you over there on the bench for 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then you can come back in because, yes, winning this game against Iowa is great. It's important for the Big Ten race because whether fans believe it or not, this team wants to win the Big Ten again.
Mhm.
They have more than just a goal of March. They want to win the Big Ten again. But ultimately, the bigger goal has to kind of be the forefront of everything you do. You don't want to lose these games, but you don't want to win them and then sacrifice the future. You've got to find a balance. But 39 minutes is a lot in a game you win by 14.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. If because Purdue is up double digits almost the entire game, and I get that Iowa kind of held it there at 10 to 12 for
Mm-hmm.
a good 10-minute stretch. But if you can't steal a couple minutes to give your guard just a little bit of breather and keep those legs a
Yeah.
little fresh in the end, when you know you're going to need him, I think that's something that Painter has to really look at to decide whether it's worth it to get 40 minutes of Smith or 34 minutes of really good Smith.
Yeah.
I don't think it's always that simple, but I do think it was encouraging at the end that you kind of tell Smith was, running on fumes a little. So what in the last minute, who's the one that's breaking the press? It's Lance Jones. Lance
Yeah.
Jones
Lance
gets
Jones.
the 4 free throws late. And I think just trusting him and letting someone else get the ball up the court, I think that's a good sign that Smith can steal some rest while on the court.
Yeah, and I
But
mean Jones still played 32 minutes, so it's not
right.
like he was fresh as a daisy, but he still looked good out there too. Hit that three at the end of the about a minute or so left in the game. So I mean, he
Well, I
was
mean, he's
firing
making
on all
some shots
cylinders.
right now.
Yeah,
Jones
yeah,
is having some moments.
yeah. Yeah, I mean he's everything we could have wanted. I wanted to touch on one thing you mentioned about Zach Edey being such a bad matchup for this Iowa team. So he was 10 of 15 in this game. In the first matchup between these two, he was 9 of 10. So he was 19 of 25 in 2 games against this Iowa Hawkeyes team. And quick math for you, that is 76% from the field
Okay.
over 2 games.
Okay.
And that is pretty good.
Yeah. So I was like the awful combination of their bigs aren't really big compared to Edie,
Yeah,
obviously,
well,
but
okay, yeah, I mean,
and they don't move that well. Um, like they're not like super hyper athletic or quick or bothersome, and they're not comfortable being like bigs that press or bigs that get into you. They're not bangers. Crikey kind of is, but he's so low to the ground. He's clearly shorter than their freshman Owen Freeman. And we were depending on that and Freeman, like you're just it's got to be in your DNA as a team to take on someone like Edie, to take on this Purdue team. You have to be willing to do all that hard stuff
yeah,
for 40 minutes.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you're gonna give up the looks he gets, he's gonna make 3 quarters of them. You
right.
have to try so hard that you limit those by turnovers and all the crazy stuff. Like you've got to get 5 to 8 of those a half.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
only
and
way you do that is playing by like a psychopath.
yeah, I mean, you have to be. Everybody has to be so disciplined
Yeah.
because your center, whoever's guarding him, has to be with him the entire time, and you got to have guys on either side who are going to cut at him and kind of try to swipe at the
Yeah.
ball and then go back to their guy, swipe at the ball, go back to their guy. You got to send guys at him from all different angles and hope that one of them gets him, one of them throws him off, or you force him into a travel or a turnover, or maybe even a bad pass. Or settle for an Ethan Morton 3 that Purdue had one of in this game that you never really love, but they've got to find ways to slow him down, and it's exceedingly tough. He's got so many skills that I just don't know how you completely stop him, short of getting him in foul trouble and having him sit on the bench. That's
That's
honestly
the only answer.
that's your best bet.
Yeah, and I think like that loss in Nebraska, if it did anything, it kind of awoke Zach Edey a little bit because he had like a 2-game slump where he only averaged like the bottom
Only had a
parts of a
double-double.
double. Yeah, the bottom
Yeah,
parts
right.
of a
10 and
double.
10.
But like it's been a reinvigorated Zach Edey. I think this team right now, in the last couple games, has kind of found more swag than they've had all season, which I think part of is just because they've had they've non-conferences, like they've won those games. What this group hasn't done is respond to poor play by coming out and playing well. Because once it started to struggle last season, this team kind of lost its confidence and never got its swagger back.
Yeah.
You look at the last month and a half, and it was pretty. Even though the record wasn't terrible, even though they still won the Big Ten by 3, those games weren't easy past like the Penn State and Palestra game.
No. I mean, they were winning games, but they were limping to the finish line in almost all of them. So mentally, you're like, okay, well, we just got to do one more. We got to do one more. And I don't know if like a loss would have been good for them. Maybe at that point,
they had losses last year.
Well, yeah, but I mean, through that last streak, that last end. And then in the Big Ten tournament, they limped to a victory over Penn State after, dominating them for so much of that game. So I don't know, maybe they're mentally tougher this year. I sure hope so. That would be great. That would be great. We got to see if they can continue to win in the Big Ten, and they may be doing that without Trey Kaufman-Renn for a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. He went up for a rebound, came down awkwardly on his left, I want to say left ankle.
Looked like it. I haven't seen a replay yet. I haven't rewatched the game.
So he came down on it awkwardly, and he had to be helped off. He was not putting weight on it initially, but then by the time he got further back into the tunnel, you could tell he was putting a little more weight on it. He did come back to the bench. So he was there at the end of the game. So that's a good sign. Did not obviously come back in the game, only wind up with 14 minutes, but you said, you and I were texting earlier, Painter did not have an update of Trey Kaufman-Renn at the press conference. Is that right?
Yeah, it's funny because Matt Painter is not that connected with injury status until he has to be. His response after the game was, I haven't asked yet. I think he said he's in the locker room, so he must not be it must not be too terrible.
What do you think the reason for that is? To just like, I don't want to have
to
talk
he can't
about
do
it
anything.
Well, yeah.
And that's literally why. Like there's nothing he can do. He's not a medical expert. It's not that useful. We get him, 7 minutes after the game. So he talks to his guys. I'm sure if it was a snapped leg and he was in the hospital, like he might have an update and know that his student, his player is in the hospital. But like past that, you talk to a guy, he's like, he checks in every now and again on injury stuff. It's one of those things where it's basketball and like ankles, they're bad. You need them. You can also play
breaking news from Dr. Bartley over here. You need ankles.
But like, you don't need them. Like you can put a real big, heavy brace on there. You can support them up. You can get out there if you need to. Purdue's in a place where they don't have to.
Right.
If anything, like you're never going to sacrifice a game just for this, but like, you also don't feel like you really like the answer is we're going to play Mason Gillis more. Painter's going to play Caleb First more.
Caleb First,
He
Camden
might
Heidi,
play
maybe.
some Camden Heidi at the 4. Yeah. So like he's got plenty of answers without really feeling, if anything, it just kind of, okay, we're going to be a little more athletic and we're going to spread the court a little more naturally.
Yeah. I was going to ask, I mean, well, maybe not ask, but I think state that if Purdue was going to sustain an injury at any position, you hate to see it at any position, but this is the one where Purdue can most, weather that storm with those guys you talked about there, Heidi, Gillis, First. They're all different than Trey Kaufman Wren, but they can fill a similar role. They can fill that position. I think between the three of them, they can pick up that slack. Mason Gillis has already been playing 20 plus minutes a game usually. So I think we hope Trey Kaufman Wren is okay. But if there is an injury, I feel confident that those three guys can pick up the minutes that Trey has been playing. And I assume if he can't play, I assume Gillis would be the one to slot into that starting
100%.
lineup.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of twofold too, because they're like they have the players for it. They're deep at the 4. They've got bigs. They've got some lineups that they might want to explore anyway. That just be good to see him on the court a little bit before March. But it's also like none of these are must-win games. As long as he's back by tournament time, as long as he's got a couple weeks run to get back and right, like once again, this is the privilege of all the expectation Purdue has. It doesn't matter if they go to Ohio State and lose on the road because they don't have Trey Kaufman. I don't think either of us believe the 4 is, the hinge that this team like rotates on.
No.
But, and I think that's the biggest thing is that like when you've got Braden Smith and these guards and Zach Edey, whatever you get at the 4 is just like bonus. Like, it's dessert. It's a nice little aftertaste. But like if Braden Smith and Zach Edey are having good games, Purdue's going to win, whether it's Caleb First, Carson Barrett, anyone playing the 4.
Well, I think if Purdue wins with Carson Barrett at the 4,
Carson Barrett's pretty good, like pretty solid.
I mean, pretty good. I don't doubt that, but there's a reason he's not getting minutes. So I'll just say, if we're winning with Carson Barrett at the 4, kudos to the rest of the squad because they've certainly picked up. Any final thoughts on this Iowa game before we take a look at Purdue's next opponent, which is the Michigan Wolverines?
I didn't get a good angle to see how Fran did. How was he?
I mean,
pretty good. No technical.
No technical.
I just want to make sure he's all right.
Yeah, he got
winning as coach at Iowa now. Congrats.
Is that right?
Yeah, a big sweet touching video. Good job, Fran.
I'm sure it was nice. He definitely got read a few times, and I tweeted something about it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Amazing he's not had a medical mishap on the sideline. I can't imagine, like, just the amount of screaming and the blood rushing to his face and cheeks. That's a heart attack waiting to happen, man.
Do we give his Big Ten freshman enough respect? What does that mean?
Did he say that? I don't know.
Yeah, he wished his 6-time Big Ten freshman of the week got a little more respect. That's what he thought about Zach Edey's game.
What? Like, here's my thing. I understand going to bat for your guys, but like that is neither here nor there, my man.
I honestly I didn't listen to the full thing. I saw the quote.
I would.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in Fran whining. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea.
I see what you did there. All right, we're gonna take a break. Come back. Talk about Purdue's next opponent, the Michigan Wolverines.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 each and every week of the college basketball season. We have a special offer that will be available starting on Tuesday, January 9th and running through Monday, February 12th, the morning after Super Bowl 58. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, in honor of the big game, you can use the bonus code FIELD158 and you'll get $158 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD158. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive $158 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD158 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create separate accounts in each state. It's easy, it's simple, it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the heart of the college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odd boosts, and my favorite, a nice juicy parlay boost. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today.
And we are back. So as promised, part 2 of the podcast, Purdue returning home to Mackey Arena. They're going to take on the Michigan Wolverines, who will be without a key player for this one, who is...
Oh, is he hurt, Ledman?
No, he is not. He is facing what I've never seen before, a road game only suspension. For those unaware, not watching this on video, Casey currently holding up a dumpster fire photo for me to talk about the status of the Michigan Wolverines program. They are struggling. Doug McDaniel is their leading scorer, leading assist man, leading minutes, I believe, as well. He will not be traveling with the team due to an undisclosed reason because he's suspended for 6 road games. He can still play at home, though. So I don't know what that is. Have you ever?
Obviously, he's causing a ruckus at the hotels, Ledman.
I
you
guess.
Can't trust that man in a Marriott. That's what I've heard.
He's going on the roofs and he's throwing fruit off the roof, just like Dave Letterman used to do.
Yeah, I hear. I think Michigan's going to change their colors for the game to salmon to better reflect their KenPom results. That is a deep cut for those into the advanced stats KenPom, because when you switch over to the Michigan page, all you see is salmon. They are losers of 6 of their last 7.
I was gonna say, can you explain that for folks maybe who don't know what KenPom color scheme means there?
Salmon
green
bad.
Is of course, yeah, green good.
Salmon bad.
A lot of green on Purdue's page. A lot of green.
A lot of green. Switch over to Michigan, not so much green.
Yeah. So again, Doug McDaniel not traveling with the team. He's their leading scorer, leading assist man, leading minute getter. And I don't think, well, I'm pretty sure Purdue would not lose to them with Doug McDaniel on the court. But Michigan would certainly have a better chance with Doug McDaniel on the court. Now, I don't even know what they're going to do.
Well, they're going to come down to Mackey and get their butt kicked. That's probably what they're going to do, Ledman.
Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe this is a game where Braden Smith can get those 4 to 5 minute rests that we were talking about earlier.
Like big shouts to there's another team in the Big Ten that's kind of taken over the mantle of worst program in the conference right now. After today's whatever, we don't have to talk about it.
No,
but if not for that, Michigan would have a giant crown and it would be shaped in the face of Juwan Howard. This is a program just in the cellar and going worse.
Yeah,
it's shocking what has become of what used to be a lovable Boeheim group.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine Howard is going to be there very much longer. I mean, this season for him has been an absolute embarrassment. I know he's got health issues. I know he had the offseason surgery or whatever it was. But then just to give up coaching some games to be no, I'm going to let my assistant coach this one at the Palestra because he's from Philly.
Do you know who's excited about that?
People who love the Palestra.
People who have to get in the handshake line afterwards. Way less chance of getting choked out.
Way less,
when
way
Juwan
less
Howard's not in the line.
Slapped in the head. But I can't imagine. I think did we talk about this when it happened? And I was just imagine going to your boss and just being I know I make $3 to $4 million. I don't know what Juwan Howard gets paid. You just be I'm going to take today off. Oh, is it a practice today? No, it's a game. Then get your ass out there. That's weird. What are you doing?
It's not a good sign when you're the boss and you say, I'm going to not be here for the important thing. And everyone's good call.
Yeah, good
It's
choice.
good. That's a good choice. I like that.
Yeah, the less
Um,
decision making.
Can we get more games in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Where's our other assistant coach from? Can we get a game there?
God, like, just I don't know what he's doing.
It's not a serious basketball program right now.
Not right now. I mean, ever since they had a couple good seasons with him after Bayline left, and then it was just like, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, is there a basketball school you would rather like? It's so weird to be on the heel of Michigan finally winning a national title, and then you look over at the other sport and they're doing this.
Right. Yeah, because it's not like it's a poorly run athletic department. You know, they're well, okay, fine. They've got problems. I'm not trying to paper over what Harbaugh did. Cheating, sign stealing, whatever.
It's all good. It's all gravy, baby.
They
Coaches just what is it when is a Michigan head coach going to actually coach most of the games? When's that going to happen?
Well, I mean,
what sport do we have to look into for Michigan head coaches to be available and willing and able to coach?
I assume the women's coach is out there every game. I don't know. I can't name you the women's coach, but maybe lacrosse, maybe soccer. I don't know. We'll go back and check the film. But something is going on up there in Ann Arbor. I mean, they also had those rumors of like there was a fight in the locker room with one of the trainers and like Howard's kid, and then Howard, all this alleged slapping and stuff, and no one knows what's going on. And he's got to get that program under control, or I can't imagine he's going to last there very long. But you don't want to be the AD who fires one of the Fab Five.
Oh, I would definitely want to be the person to fire.
I think you try to find a graceful exit for him.
They did. It's so bad in Michigan right now that the Fab Five actually got together. And they all got together and said, we got to do this now because Juwan Howard's not ever going to want to walk on campus again.
Well, and they won that game. That was against Ohio State, I think, wasn't it?
Home 73-65. Yep.
Yeah. So
who coached that game? Which Fab Five guy coached
it? I don't know. I wouldn't trust Chris Webber as my timeout guy. That's all I know.
Too soon.
Too soon. Like 30 years ago.
Too soon. Seems like yesterday. I don't know.
For those that don't know, Chris Webber called an unfortunate timeout when he did not have one in the national title game many, many moons ago.
It's just so weird. We're like 19 games into the season. Like, there's not a basketball conversation to be had about this game.
No, I mean, and they're 7-11. They're 7-11 on the season.
They have losses.
Yes, they do.
To Long Beach State, Memphis, Texas Tech, Oregon, Indiana, not a good basketball program. Florida, McNeese State, Minnesota, Penn State, Maryland, Illinois. Those are all losses.
Yeah, that's not good.
They pile up. They top on top of each other. 11 losses coming into Mackey Arena. Number 2
it's
team
not gonna,
in the country.
It's not going to go well for them.
Purdue Boilermakers.
No, not going to go well for them.
Are they going to lose? Are we?
Yes.
Is it going to be an upset? Is this?
Oh, well, to be fair, Michigan is going to lose. Purdue not going to lose.
Ken Palm has it as 93%.
What is that? Do they have is his predicted score up there? I can't remember.
86-69.
That sounds right.
Pretty close to the Iowa game on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I take that action. So, I mean, I don't know. This doesn't feel like much of a game. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about Michigan, but man, they're a mess.
You know what I want to say about Michigan? The game afterwards. Jersey Mike's Arena. Piscataway, New Jersey, baby.
Piscataway.
Piscataway?
Piscataway.
Pisca.
Nope. No, I'm gonna stop you there.
Okay.
It's Piscataway.
Piscataway.
I'm on the East Coast. I know how these things are said.
Piscataway.
There you go.
How do I get down there? Do I have to take a train?
I mean, you can get there by plane, by train, automobile. John Candy, maybe. Who knows?
Ooh.
But yeah,
we're gonna talk about that. But that's all I care about this Michigan game. It means that the Michigan game is almost over.
There you go. And you know what? That's a good thing too, because that's one less time we have to watch this Michigan squad. It's not going to be good. I think Purdue should waltz.
What happened to our Big Ten, Levin? It used to be a beautiful place.
Well, we let in Maryland and Rutgers, and the whole place has gone downhill ever since.
Yeah. Nebraska wasn't
Although,
great either.
well, if you ask my dad, we never should have let Penn State in. You know,
Oh.
should have been 10. We should stick at 10. Should be over.
Why has a conference? Why is there not a baby conference somewhere with relegation?
Oh, yeah. So kind of like the Premier League. So like if you get bottom 3 or 4 teams,
It's the
in
only
the Big
sporting
Ten,
thing that makes sense because you are both playing in the same sport. But like with like basketball and like football, like it still is judged to its own level.
they
So,
really
like,
should do
Big Ten,
like,
little Big Ten.
or I mean, if you want to do it that way, sure, but why not partner with like the Big Ten could partner with the MAC?
No,
You know, the
we got
Pac-12,
to make
if
sure
they
the Big
existed.
Ten makes the money and keeps the money.
Oh, well, then really,
all
I'm not
staying
sure
here.
what you're doing. I mean,
The automatic bids come from the top.
I
The other
guess.
ones have to play themselves, and they have to go play like McNeese State.
Yeah, but I think it'd be better if you could get like kicked out of the conference for like a season.
That's what I'm
And then-
saying.
Well,
They're not
but not
involved.
really. Okay, but you're just like making Big Ten A and Big Ten B. I'm
Right.
saying like you got to go to the MAC if you get the bottom, and
Well,
then you
think
got to
of a
win
new
the
name.
MAC.
You think
to
of a
get
new
out.
name. You think
I
of.
mean, sure.
I'm just relegation, baby.
You're just spitball. Okay, we need to
Spitball.
bring promotion and relegation back.
College football.
From
College basketball.
from the former motherland of America and bring it over to the colonies. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. What?
You know, because
Colonies.
soccer. We're the colonies.
Was relegation around then? Is that what happened?
Yes, that's exactly. We got relegated.
Cool.
We got relegated to the United
Okay.
States, and then we
I
got
slept through
promoted.
some history, so
We
this is
got
good. It's
promoted
good to
when
get
we
caught
won the
up.
Revolutionary War.
Okay.
And then we became a country.
Upset of a
That's how it
century.
worked.
Upset
Upset
of the century.
There you go. There will not be an upset of the century on Tuesday.
Bigger upset: U.S.
Not-
over Britain or Michigan over Purdue?
Michigan
Tuesday.
over Purdue for sure.
100%.
At least we had France on our side. I don't think Michigan has anybody coming in to help them out. So they're
I
going to.
don't think you're allowed
trouble.
to, Ledman.
No, I think it's got to be 5-on-5.
Okay.
Yeah, just one team at a time. So there we go, folks. Tuesday, 9 p.m. Peacock. We'll see you after that. Field of 68. Like, rate, review, subscribe, share. Click all of the buttons.
There are buttons. Hit them.
That's right. Boiler up, folks. We'll see you next time.
Alrighty, diety.
Nice
Get
job.
this up and going. I'll
All
send
right,
you
let
the
me
links
know.
tonight
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
Perfect.